Hi and welcome to the podcast. My name is Kristen. You can find me on Instagram as Skein and on Ravelry as K10, that's K10. Hope you're doing really well. It is the 23rd of October, it's Thursday today, and it feels like time has flown since the last podcast. I actually cast on and finished a project within 2 weeks. Actually, this only took me about a week to knit. So I cast on the Moriaty vest by Nadia Crétin-Léchenne, and who is also known as NC Knits on Instagram. I knit this for my mum. So next week is actually my birthday and we'll be going down on the weekend to see my parents and my brother, and I'll be taking this down with me. So I knit this for her and it was such a quick and lovely knit. It is a very basic top-down vest with a V-neck, and there is shoulder shaping and a little bit of neck shaping obviously for the V-neck. It is knit to, well, I knit this to a little bit of a cropped length because Mum is actually going to wear it with jeans. She knows I was knitting this for her, so we've already spoken about the length and how she wanted it to fit. So it's going to sit just at the top of her jeans, and then she's going to wear a long shirt underneath. I'll stand up and show you. So I used our Cushy DK in the colour Solstice, and I did alternate skeins, which I always do when I knit with hand-dyed yarn. And there were a couple of little modifications that I did. So the pattern is actually designed to be knit with a strand, holding a strand of fingering weight yarn and mohair. And when I saw the pictures, I loved the shape of the vest, but the fabric seemed to be quite loose. I was after something a little bit more structured, but I like the V-neck, I like how it sat, and obviously I really like Nadia's pattern, so I wanted to see if I could just sort of adjust the pattern a little bit. So what I ended up doing was I substituted obviously holding the two strands of yarn for our Cushy DK, and our DK is a little bit on the heavier side. So when I knit the gauge swatch, I got gauge with the needles that she recommends, and the fabric was actually quite a bit tighter. So that was exactly what I wanted. The only thing was, I think the pattern was 5.5 stitches per inch and I got 6 stitches per inch, so my gauge was off. But then when I did the calculations, I worked out if I knit the next size up, I would get exactly what I was after for the bust and whatever. So that worked out really well. So that's what I did. And yeah, because it was knit in a DK weight yarn, it just flew off the needles. I think I cast this on and then bound off. It was I'm sure it was under a week. So it was very quick to knit. But yeah, I highly recommend this pattern. It's such a good pattern to knit. And of course I was thinking, I'm going to make this for myself at some stage. I really like it for now, just to wear around as a top. I wouldn't even have to wear anything underneath, just a bra with, jeans or whatever. It's just the perfect weight for right now, which is weird because it's DK, but it does feel quite cool still. And I was also thinking a nice thing to do would be to incorporate a little bit of a colour work maybe across the bottom here, just above the hem. I will definitely be making one for myself at some stage. The other thing that I finished is the Bao Bao shawl by Isabell Kraemer, and here it is. It was such a lovely project to knit on. It's addictive, it's very relaxing. The design itself is so easy to memorize. I didn't look at the pattern, I just knit, and I didn't even count my stitches while I was knitting. All I did was count these little stripy drop stitch rows until I got to the amount that was called for in the pattern, and then I changed colours. I don't know why I did this, but the little border, I should have knit maybe another inch, I think. It's not too bad, but I would have liked it to be just a tad bit thicker. The yardage for the shawl is very generous, so you have 2 skeins each of the 2 main colours, and then use 1 skein of the contrast. And when I finished, I had a lot of yarn left over, which was good. I mean, I could easily knit a hat to go with this or something. So certainly I wasn't running out of yarn, so I'm not sure why I bound off so quickly. Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, it was an absolute pleasure to knit this, and we do have kits in the shop if you're interested. I'll put a link to those below. There's not a lot else I could say, except it's such a wonderful pattern. Oh, I should say the yarn itself is our sport weight yarn, Sportlicious. And I used, I think it's kit 5, but it's the colours Sweet Cheeks, Brass, and then the green is Olive. For new cast-ons, I cast on the Stay Toasty scarf by Veronika Lindberg, and this is for the Lovely Day Knits podcast, who is hosting a knit-along for Veronika's patterns. Alicia's wonderful, and it's really nice to support her channel too. So I will put a link if you probably already know who Alicia is, because a lot of you I know have come from her channel, but if not, I'll pop her podcast below. She is actually a local Coffs Harbour knitter. I've met her in person. She is exactly as she is on the podcast. She's just a ray of light. She's such a nice person. So yeah, I'll link her below. There was a lot to choose from. I was leaning at one stage towards the Sailor Swift singlet. The only thing that I was a bit not really sure on is the fit. I am someone who really likes to wear oversized tops. I don't really like things that fit too tightly. So I wasn't quite sure if I would wear that. It would be a good sample for the shop, but I just wasn't sure if I wanted to knit that to wear myself. And then in the time that it took for me to decide, I had finished the Bao Bao shawl. And I decided that I really, really wanted to knit another shawl, and something very simple. I've just cast on. It's a really lovely broken rib pattern, and when I actually bought the pattern and then I printed it off. I took it home. It took me a little while to cast on, and then when I was reading through the pattern, I saw all these charts, and I was thinking, oh no, I hope I haven't chosen something that, you know, I really have to pay attention to. But I was thinking at the same time, the actual stitch pattern itself looks really easy, so surely it can't be that difficult. I did the first 2 charts just to start the shawl, and by the end of the second chart, I didn't even have to look at the chart anymore. If you get the pattern, don't be put off by the amount of charts. It really is just there if you maybe a bit more of a beginner knitter and you're not used to knitting shawls. You can actually work step by step through the charts. Or if you've been knitting for a while and you understand how shawl knitting works, then once you get the stitch pattern, that's it. You don't even have to look at the chart anymore. But yeah, it's a lovely pattern. The yarn I chose for the shawl is our new Allure base, which I've been really wanting to knit something with. And I paired it with our Oh So Fine lace, which is a Suri silk. And this is our Fluro peach. As you know, I love this colour, so it's really nice to be able to knit with it. And it looks like it might be showing up a little bit lighter. It's actually quite a rich peachy pink. And this colour is Candlelight, and together I thought they would knit up really nicely, and yeah, really, really enjoyable. Now for my ready to cast ons, I still have the modular top, which I talked about last week. I'm pretty sure I talked about it the week before that too. I still haven't cast that on, but I do have the yarn ready for that, and that is a lovely summery top. So whether I cast it on now or in a month or 2, it's fine. It shouldn't take too long to knit, so I'm not too worried about that, but I will be casting that on at some stage. I'm also really keen to cast on another Soldotna. That is by Caitlin Hunter. I think I've knit 3 now, and I'm wanting to knit a 4th one. We are going to the Knitopia festival on the Gold Coast in March, and I will be taking our winter bases or autumn bases, and I was thinking that would be a really good sample to take. So the last Soldotna I knit, actually I knit one with our curly DK. That was fun to knit. That's a boucle yarn, so it was a lovely curly texture. And then the one I knit before that was a 3-colour Soldotna. So the Soldotna pattern calls for four different colours. And I had seen on Instagram some people who had knit it using 3 colours, and I really liked that effect, so I did a 3-colour. But I was thinking this time, if I'm going to do it as a shop sample, I might actually follow the pattern. The only thing I don't want to knit is in the body section of the Soldotna, there's all these little, I'm not sure what they call it, but it's like little flecks of one colour that you knit like every 3rd stitch. It's a really nice, it looks great, like it's a nice effect, but it does make the sweater a lot hotter because it is double fabric, and it's also really fiddly. And I think, I always feel with colourwork sweaters, I don't know if you guys are the same, but once I finish the yoke of a colourwork sweater, because it's usually I knit them top down, once the colourwork is done, I'm done with colourwork. I don't want to knit it anymore, so it's really nice to join for the body and then just knit stockinette stitch. So that's probably what I'll do. That's the only modification, but I will use 4 colours. I did make a couple of pattern purchases. One of them is the Margaux top by Gregoria Fibres. I am looking for another summer pattern because, and I keep forgetting to mention this on the podcast, we have a tops and tees knit along running at the moment. It is running up until, I think it's the end of January. So it's any tops and tees. If you knit with Skein yarn, you will be eligible for a prize. And you don't have to knit the whole thing in Skein. You can just, if you're doing like colour work or just adding a little bit into your project, then that's fine. I am opening this up to all yarns though, so you can come and join in with whatever yarn you're knitting on. And I should say it's also, it's not just a knit along, it's a crochet along too. So if you wanted to crochet a top, that's fine, or knit, that's totally fine. So the Margaux top, I bought the pattern last night and I'm all ready to cast on. So what I love about this top is the texture, and I've spoken about this before on the podcast. I'm really drawn to projects that have a lot of texture. This one is perfect because it has 2 different textures in it, and it's top down. I believe, actually I'm not sure if it's this one or the other one that I'm going to talk about that has the fold over collar, but it is a high boat neck, which I really like too. And it is knit out of DK weight yarn, so it's very similar to this, and it's good for this time of year, and it can also be used at night, I guess, in summer, but also I can still wear it into autumn, which is fantastic, and even probably into winter if I want to layer it. So I have 3 of these skeins in the shop. They are Crema Caffe on our Cushy DK base, and I think I'm going to swipe these off the shop and use this. I was thinking I could do a darker colour, but I'm thinking because it's going to be more of a summery top, I want it to be a little bit lighter. The other thing that I purchased was actually this morning while I was sitting in bed having my coffee. I was looking through Instagram and Joji Locatelli's post popped up that she was doing a 1 skein mystery knit along, and I was so excited. So I joined up straight away. It is 1 skein, which is so good, and like she says, it's very doable. So there's 4 clues because it's only a 1 skein shawl. It won't take very long, and she said it's quite an easy shawl pattern. I really like the idea that it's a 1 skein mystery knit along, because I don't even think that there is a 1 skein mystery knit along. Anyway, maybe there is. But it's a lovely concept, and everybody has 1 skein of sock yarn in their stash that they've been hoarding or that they love and would be perfect for this. So yeah, I'm really excited. Oh, and I should also mention that the cost for the mystery knit along is $3 US, which is incredible. So that will be a special price for the mystery knit along, and then when the pattern is released after November, I think she's releasing it sometime in December, then the price will go up. So I hope you guys are going to join in. Let me know below if you're going to sign up. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. These are some patterns that I came across, some spring summer tops. Some of these could actually also be worn in autumn as well, with layers or over dresses or whatever. The first pattern was the Shawl Tee by Anne Wenzel, and I really love the horizontal lines of lace that run down the sweater, which you don't often see as much as when it's across. You normally get patterns with yokes of lace or lace striped, but you don't often get them running horizontally, and I really like that look. I also really love the sleeves because they're just a little bit kind of puffy, not overly so, but just a little bit. And it's short sleeved, which is perfect for right now. And I could totally see myself wearing this over a dress or jeans now, or even in autumn. The second pattern is a twist loop top by Other Loops Design, and it is a really interesting ribbed halter top with a really lovely cable that runs down the center. It is knit bottom up though, so if you're not a bottom up fan, then this one probably wouldn't be for you. I really like the fit, I like the neck, I like the high neck, I like the halter top look. I would probably wear this as probably a layer piece with a shirt underneath. I think I incorporated this one into our email because it would go really well with our all-rounder that we are featuring this week. Actually, what would be really nice is our ACM, which is alpaca cotton merino, which is fluffy. So that would suit this, and because it only has a small amount of detail in it, it wouldn't get lost with the fluffiness of the yarn. The next one is the Ingrid top by Gregoria Fibres. I am definitely going to knit this one. I love this top. I think it would be perfect summer top. It is knit out of a sport weight yarn, and I love summer spring tops that are knit with sport weight because it is just that tiny little bit thicker than fingering weight, so it goes a little bit quicker. I really like the design of this top. The eyelets would be really nice and cool to wear. I believe this is the one with the turn down neckband, so it would give a nice structure along the neck. And I do like the wider sleeve opening, which would be nice in summer. Yeah, I've looked at this quite a few times, so I will definitely be knitting this sometime soon. The next top is called the Granny Stitch Tank Top, and it's by MJ's Off the Hook Designs, and this is actually a crochet top. And I had a email from a lovely customer who is not a knitter, but she's a crocheter, and she asked if I could incorporate crochet patterns into my emails. And I do every now and again put crochet, but probably not as often as I should. So I have made a pact with myself that every time I put patterns or an email out with patterns, I will have a few crochet choices. I love the look of crochet tops. I do not crochet. I can crochet very basic things. I've crocheted a baby blanket once, and I've done a few coastery type things, but it's not something that I am very confident making. But I love these, and this one is really lovely. I believe this is crocheted from the top down, and it is crocheted using a fingering weight yarn with cotton and nylon. Now, I don't obviously have cotton nylon in our bases, but I'm sure if you used a yarn that had some sort of plant base in it, like our Llano, I'm pretty sure this would be fine. And I think it would also be okay to use a merino yarn. I don't know, if there's any crocheters who are watching, let me know in the comments below if it's something you can substitute. I mean, I'm not really sure. Like I said, I don't crochet, so I really don't know, but I'm assuming if you wanted to use a merino yarn for this pattern, it would be okay. It's a really lovely design. I love the v-neck. Again, I like how it's a lacy top. Of course, you would have to wear a little tank top underneath, or even, I mean, if you wore it to the beach, you could just wear your swimmers underneath. It's a really nice design, and actually she has quite a few really lovely patterns. The last pattern I want to talk about is not a summer top. This is more autumn. It is the mountain bed sweater that Caitlin Hunter released last week, and I absolutely love this sweater. So it is a top-down crew neck sweater. It has a simple colourwork stripe that runs just at the top of the yoke, and then 3 colourwork bands that run down the sleeves. I really want to knit this, but this will be something that I make at the end of summer heading into autumn. The only thing I would change are the sleeves. So she has knitted the sleeves straight to the wrist, and then I'm pretty sure there's a rib at the end. But they're quite wide, and there's nothing wrong with that. That looks great. But for me personally, I think what I would do is after that colourwork band, I would probably do a rapid decrease and then have a almost like a balloon sleeve at the bottom, and then have a rib. I don't like having sleeves that are wide at the bottom that kind of flap around. And also I feel like if you wanted to push the sleeves up to your elbow, which I do quite often, they wouldn't sit because they're quite loose. So just having that cinched in sleeve at the bottom I think would be good for this sweater, and it'd be good for me anyway. I mean, it looks lovely as it is, and obviously a lot of people have knit this, I'm assuming, being Caitlin Hunter, but I would probably just make that small little modification. She has used Farmer's Daughter Confluence cotton, so it's a mixture of merino and cotton. It is fingering weight, I'm pretty sure. Yes, fingering weight. So I think I would use our Llano, which is linen and merino. I think it would look really pretty, and it'd be nice to knit a colour work with that yarn. I haven't done that yet, so this is definitely in my plans, but for a later date. And before I go, I just wanted to quickly show you a few colours that we'll be adding to the shop. I actually dyed up 2 new colours. I needed to add a brown, like just a lovely basic warm brown, and a very pale pink, because I don't have those colours in the shop. So I came up with chocolate cake and bubble bath, and these look lovely together. I also dyed up custard, sweet sumac, which is always a favourite, blackberry, ghost green, papaya. I haven't dyed this one for a long time, and this is actually quite a big favourite. So it's sort of more spring. I think that's probably why I dyed it. Of course, I dyed up Fluro peach. There's whisper, petrol. I love this colour. I always am attracted to the moodier, deeper colours, but this one's so nice. It's got a really tonal aspect to it of this really deep blue, sort of sapphire-y blue, and then a hint of green. And actually this goes really well with ghost green and olive. So they are all in the shop now, and yeah, ready to ship. I wanted to say also thank you so much for your comments from the last podcast, and I have picked a winner for the Halloween sock set, which I don't even have with me. It's out in the packing area, but I'll put the winner down here. I really enjoyed reading all of your traditions for Halloween, and I really appreciate any comment that you leave. So as long as it's a nice comment, not that anyone ever leaves any nasty comments. Have a lovely couple of weeks, and I'll be back in 2 weeks time, and yeah, happy knitting, and talk to you soon. Bye.